My name is Jean Field. I'm a member of the Church of the Ascension, and I've been asked to share a little bit of my experience, my spiritual journey during this COVID-19 pandemic. Prior to March 13th, I had a really fun life. I'd get up in the morning and I'd go out and I'd lead water aerobics or yoga or group exercise, and I'd have a great experience with other people, giving to them and getting so much in return. Now, after March 13th, things changed. My family's away and I live alone. Sometimes living alone in that alienation seems sadly profound. I hear of families enjoying their activities together, and though I know it's a struggle for them too, I'm in awe of what they're doing, and I miss my previous life. But like many, during the early days of the pandemic, I looked around this place of confinement and I began to see the imperfections, and I set about trying to organize and touch up those little spaces, and that soon finished. And then I began to be aware of those inner spaces that I have of disorganization, and especially of my relationship with God. So I set about trying to understand that and do something about it, about how the world was still silent, even when I know that God is within and without. I tried meditating, I tried reading a brief passage to meditate upon. I watched Zoom retreats, I became a part of them, and prayer groups and Bible study. All of this to try to pay more attention to my relationship with God. And as I looked for space to dialogue with the divine, I soon came to understand that all I needed to do was to know that God is, and to honor God in profound silence and meditation. So though I miss worship in church, I am finding a freedom and intimacy in this retreat. I find sitting outside, away from electronics, away from man's creations and all those distractions, I find that stepping into God's creation, there is awe and wonder and peace. So one day I was sitting out there and a great white swan flew over my head, and I was just in ecstasy. Online worship, especially communion, leaves me empty. I'm just saying, for me, it feels like I am watching actors invoking God in an empty space and offering a banquet that no one can eat. To me, this is not at all what Jesus meant in sharing with his friends. To me, it does not resemble the gatherings of the early church where people shared a meal and then talked about their life with Jesus and his messages. I became aware of how the very nature of worship has evolved from that early church. I have decided instead to buy a luscious loaf of bread and a fine bottle of wine, and to spread at the next appointed time, to spread a table in God's sight. And remember God's creation and Jesus's message. I am going to sit with the omnipresent God, knowing that God is within and without, and I am not alone.